Hey crew, I've got the key to this 25 BMW M4 CS. We are going to take it for a drive, but first, let's check it out. It looks on the inside and outside. The CS stands apart from the standard M4 and M4 competition with things like this unique gloss black grille insert with a red backing for the M4 CS badge and red outline for the long kidney grille. There's a lot of carbon fiber on this car, like for the functional intakes here. Functional brake cooling is there. There is an extended front splitter in carbon fiber with these winglets off to the side. There's a functional duct there to bring cool air over the brakes and tires to cool them. The hood is made from carbon fiber, the only exposed pieces being these two vanes. It's not my favorite styling, but I see they're going for distinction, I get that. There are standard projector LED headlights with LED DRLs and turn signals. This one is painted in frozen Isle of Man green metallic. So it's got that matte finish, but that metallic sparkle shining through, and I love this color. At the side is a set of 19-inch front, 20-inch rear forged alloy wheels in a gold finish. Those are wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 tires, sized 275 section front and 285 at the back. Within those wheels is one of the few options for this car, carbon ceramic brakes, and they're $8,500 extra, though I think they should be standard on a track-focused model like this one, and the giveaway is the gold painted calipers. There is carbon fiber as standard for the door mirror caps and roof, gloss black for the window trim and for that extended side sill. That's just like the regular M4 Coupe though. Coming over here to the back, we find some carbon fiber for this lip spoiler, and we've got the M4 CSL style LED taillights with LED turn signals. Down low is a mingling of gloss black around the carbon fiber diffuser. It's a big diffuser, and it's got 4 large exhaust outlets in a dark chrome finish. From every angle, it says this car means business, but my question for you is, which wears the CS treatment better, the M4 CS or the M3 CS? Let me know in the comments, and let's check out the interior. Opening up and looking inside at this very serious about speed interior. I mean, these M carbon bucket chairs, let's just start with those. They're some of the coolest looking seats of any production car. They've got carbon fiber in gloss surround. You've got full merino leather with red contrast stitching, red leather up top, red illuminating CS badges, pass-throughs for racing harness, perforations. They're heated. They've got integrated grab handles, power adjustments, including for the side bolsters, M4 CS illuminated tread plates, aluminum foot pedals. I'll pop the trunk here. And inside we're going to find 13 cubic feet of space, not a small trunk. And if you pull on these 2 levers, you can fold down the seats 40, 20, 40. There's not a power close function on the trunk lid. I don't mind that though. We're saving weight and it's easy to close up that trunk lid. On the doors, you've got leather up top and in the center here with red accents, 2 positions of memory for the driver's seat, 1 touch up down windows, power adjusting and power folding door mirrors. Some of that ambient lighting is showing up here even during the day. Standard Harman Kardon sound system. Now, to get to the back seats, you do have to pull on this tricolor accented strap. Then the seat is going to glide its way forward and give a pretty decent access point to these rear chairs. And so getting back isn't all that big of a deal. Then I'm gonna let the seat come back to where my driver's position is at 6 feet tall, and that still gives me good knee room and good foot pocket room, so I'm not uncomfortable back here. Headroom, that's a bit more of an issue. My head is pressed against the roof. I can't quite make it back to that headrest, so I'd have to slink forward a little bit and lose some lumbar to actually nestle my head against the headrest. As for amenities, there aren't any, like not at all. You've got leather seats. That's about it. Now, getting into the front seats is a bit trickier of a situation until you learn what you're supposed to do. I extend my leg fully and I get my butt over the tall bolster on the side to avoid any accidental impact on things. Closing the door, I'm gonna find a thickly wrapped suede steering wheel. Feels so nice to squish my fingers into. It's got a flat bottom to it, carbon fiber accents, the big red M1 and M2 customizable drive selections, carbon fiber faced paddles here, nice and large, and they feel great to actuate. Digital gauge cluster, it's vivid, it's reconfigurable. It's within the same housing as the infotainment screen. It's a 14.9-inch display running the latest iDrive software. Easy to use, quick responding, Again, vivid graphics for this. It's got wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. There's also a head-up display. Down low, we've got a volume knob and seat controls, along with your hazards and defrosters. I wish there were a few more climate functions down here that would be less distracting to use while driving. This is not all that bad adjusting the temperature, but to adjust the fan speed, I've got to bring up the climate menu. Then you can bring the fan speed up or down or hit the auto function. It just may be a little tricky while your eyes should be up on the road. Beneath that, we've got a wireless charging pad, a slot for your key fob, USB-A port, lots of the carbon fiber that go on this console, which is bespoke to the CS. And that does mean you miss out on cup holders. I don't have them here. I have one for the driver, and it's at an angle, which is not great if you've got a beverage with liquid in it, because it would otherwise spill out. But yeah, that's your storage space. No spot for my sunglasses to go. All your drive selections are easy to use here. Leather wrapping and tricolor stitching for the gear selector. And then you do have this physical input for the infotainment if you don't want to touch the screen. Visibility is pretty great. Even the small blind spot of the seat pillar, not really an issue because you've got standard blind spot monitoring. And the view out the back is terrific as well. This is a very performance-oriented interior. It reminds you every time you look at each of the different carbon fiber or suede surfaces, or every time you feel the bolsters come in on these seats. Now, let's take the M4 CS for a drive. All right, let's fire it up. There is some excitement from the turbo inline 6-cylinder on startup. Hello, cabin crew. Thanks for joining for this first drive in the 25 BMW M4 CS. I'm going to start, before we head out, with a little briefing on all the different drive settings you have to choose from, because there are quite a few of them. So here in the setup screen, we've got adjustments for your powertrain, your suspension, steering, braking response, and the all-wheel drive system if you want it kind of permanent four-wheel drive. Do you want it rear drive bias, or you can actually switch it to just be rear drive. So here we're going to start out in efficient and comfort for pretty much everything, and then you have the M mode functions, and so that gives you a different orientation of the gauge cluster, and when you go into track drive mode, it actually shuts off the infotainment, so you just focus on driving. And then here we've got a button to open or close the baffles in the exhaust. And then when you found your preferences over time with the M4 CS, you can program those into your M1 and M2 buttons. So I've got M1 set right now for a little more leisurely driving, and then M2 for more aggressive driving. So with all that said, let me throw on my seatbelt here, click it over into drive. And before we leave this area, I want to do a turning radius test. So I'm going to crank the wheel and see that the turning circle is respectable. It's not amazing, but for this wheelbase, for this tire section, it's pretty solid. And now, what about the turn signal sound? What do we get from the M4 CS? It's a traditional BMW tune. I don't mind that. It is kind of loud though. And then we've got to do a world famous horn test. What does the horn sound like in this car? Ooh, perky. That'll get someone's attention. And what's going to get your attention is this powertrain. 3.0 liter twin turbocharged inline 6. It makes 543 horsepower, which is 40 more than the M4 Competition X Drive, and it makes the same 479 pound-feet of torque. That is routed through an 8-speed automatic like the M4 Competition, and it's sent to all 4 tires via that variable all-wheel drive system. And right now, just cruising around, it is a very docile powertrain. Builds power in a linear way for a twin-turbo system. And with the comfort throttle response, is not overly zealous. These seats are also, while pretty aggressive looking, fairly comfortable when you're actually inside them. The padding is supple enough. It's ergonomically shaped, holding me in all the right places, not too strictly at that. And my driving posture is excellent at 6 feet. I've got headroom above. The steering wheel tilts and telescope, which is manual adjusting, brings the wheel to just the right driving posture. And now as I pick up the pace here on the highway, I'm gonna change it up and bring on the Sport Plus engine response just to see about passing power. Oh, yes. Yeah, there's there's plenty of that. And then backing off from that, if I'm just going to cruise on the highway and I want to listen for the cabin volume at these speeds, I am noting a fair amount of tire noise. There wasn't much wind noise that I was hearing though, and the passing vehicles aren't all that disruptive, but yeah, you're hearing those Cup 2 tires generate some hum on this road surface especially. Thankfully though, it's not egregious. You could deal with that in a commuter setting. And speaking of, here in traffic, you might think, well, I'd like some driving assistance features, but unfortunately in the CS you don't have the option. You just have regular old cruise control here, not adaptive, and you don't have a steering assist system or lane change assist. You just have a lane departure warning and correction system. And if you're going to want those things, if you are going to have a lot of heavy traffic commuting, then the CS might not be the way to go. The standard M4 or M4 competition might be preferable because you can't equip those to that car. But then again, I don't know, because hearing that S58 through the titanium exhaust of the M4 CS is pretty pleasant. So when you're getting on the highway or when traffic clears, it may be worth it. And then off the highway, the CS isn't really any less compliant than the standard M4 competition. The adaptive dampers still filter out the road, so it's not jarring. If anything, it's slightly more taut riding than the M4 competition, so you jostle on the undulations in the road a little bit more. But this would not be punishment if you were going to make your way around town or get to where you're going every day. And I think that's of critical importance to this car, to its success, because yeah, the CS is built to do crazy things on a canyon road or even better on a track. But at the end of the day, for most people, it's going to be their only car. And if it is filling you with dread, thinking about what the suspension, what the ride quality would do to your muscles and joints over bumps, then that's no way to live. But the reality is that it just feels like a solidly built BMW with maybe a little extra tire and road noise. But there has to be a reason why you would spend 35 grand more than an M4 Competition X-Drive, and I don't think it's going to be the gold wheels. So let's start dabbling in the performance of this CS. Starting with a real-world 0 to 60 test. I've got my race box set up here to record. I've got the M2 drive mode pulled up with all the necessary functions for launch control. So holding my foot on the brake, pinning the throttle, building up the revs, preparing launch control. It's ready. Oh! Go violent! There's 60 in 2.83 seconds. You have got to be kidding me. That's brutal. But that's not the whole story. What is the M4 CS like in the curves? Compared to the M4 Comp X-Drive, they stiffened up this chassis, and with the Cup 2 tires, just adds so much more grip. It tears along this road. The optional carbon ceramics scrubbing the speed effectively before the next bend. The steering is terrific. It's light but crazy direct and quick. And with the all-wheel drive system adding to the grip factor, but the rear bias dialed in now, it behaves in a perfectly predictable and enjoyable way. I'm very thankful for those carbon ceramic brakes. Still can't believe they're optional. They really should be standard, but they are certainly effective. Oh, this motor is just churning away. This is an animal. Really pleased with the steering. Really pleased with the chassis control. Such a good driver's car. The traction is off, but stability stays on. All keeping things under control. I don't know if there are many faster ways you'd make it through this section of road. It's finesse, it's power, it's pleasure. Speed! What a terrific road car. Hello, M Division. Thank you very much. Oh, the inputs are just magnificent. Love the action of these paddles. And the speed of this 8-speed automatic through the gears is unbelievable. Just near instant shifts. The satisfaction of pulling the paddles. I love driving this car. And I want a track. Real bad. But what is this delicious drive going to cost you? $125,000 or just under that. And this one with the carbon ceramics, which I think you should not get this car without those, is about 133 grand. That's obviously a lot of money, but this is a lot of car, as I just found out. I mean, there are very few vehicles, even into the supercar realm, that will out-accelerate you at a stoplight or even out-drive you on a canyon road. And that might be worth the extra 35 grand, especially when you factor in the exclusivity and the styling and just all the little tactile feedback that you get as the driver. It just feels like more than the sum of its parts. But now I'll toss the question to you. Do you think the M4 CS is worth the extra money over the M4 competition, or would you save it and just go get that car? Or would you get something else? The Audi RS5 competition? Let me know in the comments. I hope you guys have enjoyed this POV first drive, and I will see you again next time.